Network science can be described as the disciplined study of networks of people, influence, and technology. Although a relatively new field, network science can trace its roots to the 18th century, when discrete mathematics evolved into what came to be known as graph theory. Graph theory was first used to describe the properties of diverse linkages and pathways, what we now refer to as networks. Graph theory is still in use today, and is considered a viable tool when describing probability distributions. Even so, it has been noted that graph theory often falls short when applied to real-world concerns. In particular, it is limited in its ability to deal with both theoretical and empirical questions, presumes that networks are static, it does not provide the basis in which to comprehend their behavior. In other words, graph theory alone is incomplete, and the existing void still needs to be addressed. Military strategists have taken note of this gap, and in particular the fact that the current fundamental knowledge about networks is primitive and that network behavior is not reliably predictable. To address these shortcomings, an interdisciplinary approach became necessary, one in which the framework to enhance our collective knowledge could be built. The Department of Defense has been interested in networks and networking and its effect on command and control for quite some time. For instance, during the 1990s, the network-centric operations paradigm, as outlined by the DoD, laid out the impact of information in networks, the threats we face, and the opportunities we have to counter those threats. In 2005, however, the National Research Council of the National Academy of Sciences noted that no science today offers the fundamental knowledge necessary to design large, complex networks in such a way that their behavior can be predicted prior to building them. As a result, trying to implement network-centric operations as envisioned is like trying to design and build a modern combat jet without resorting to the science of fluid dynamics. Recognizing the current state of the field, there is a continual need for basic research to increase our understanding of networks. Networks occur at various levels, including information networks that bring data together, communication networks that carry information, biological networks that form metabolic pathways, cognitive networks that provide a shared understanding of the situation, and common doctrines and social networks of trust and influence. Each of these encompasses specific domains, but they all have certain issues in common that the military could learn from and capitalize on. What's more, we need to have new tools and insights in order to better understand and affect each kind of network we want to build or counter. Also, predicting the behavior of networks is difficult as they continue to increase in size. So the ability to obtain and assess this type of data is in high demand. This requires a thorough examination of the field and the processes that presently exist in order to determine how we can expand our current perspective regarding networks. In essence, a field that focuses on and proliferates research as it pertains to the establishment of a network science. The field of network science establishes the methodologies appropriate to various domains and uses them to gain new knowledge of how these networks behave and proliferate. In 2007, with direct support provided by the Department of the Army and Office of the Secretary of Defense, the Network Science Center was established at the United States Military Academy.
Network science has many contributions to make to robotics and has already formed the basis of much of our robotic design to date. It starts at the lowest level as scientists investigate the ways in which networks of neurons in the brain form our ability to see, to hear, to control our muscles. We take it up a level as scientists investigate groups of these neurons, how systems in the brain, our vision, our movement, our other perception link together to form intelligence. At a higher level, network scientists are studying social insects such as bees and ants. These are very simple organisms, but when they work together, their behaviors interact to form very sophisticated movements, very sophisticated changes to the environment around them. And we're already learning from these organisms and applying what we're learning to what's called swarm intelligence in robotic equipment. And finally, at what's perhaps the highest level of networking, some network scientists are studying cognitive networks. That is, how do people in social situations come to share a common understanding of the world and to communicate with one another in effective ways? And we're looking for insights into cognitive networks so that we can then encode in robots an ability to share understanding and to communicate to and from us as well.
To better understand network science-related issues will require additional research, experimentation, and training over the long term. It is our intent to provide the type of support necessary by training our future leaders in network science through an evolving curricula and by performing the type of research conducted under the auspices of our Network Science Center here at the United States Military Academy.
We are increasingly dependent on networks, on communication networks that connect us with others across the hall and across the globe, on power grids that span multiple countries, on the internet that literally brings information and services to our fingertips, and on the enormous network of neurons we call the human brain. Yet our understanding of networks and the emergent behaviors they create is very limited. If we are to harness the power of networks, we will need to invest more in basic and applied research to create the body of knowledge we call network science. The U.S. Military Academy at West Point and its Network Science Center is important not only because it will contribute to this body of knowledge, but also because the cadets are the future of the Army. Their increased awareness and understanding of networks will enable them to leverage their power in order to remain dominant in the 21st century.